Hello, everyone. It's Jonathan Woodward. I'm here to welcome you to a special Thanksgiving episode of Saved by the City, and I'm here with an excellent friend of mine, Mr. John Schmidt. Hi, John.
Hey, Jonathan. So Jonathan and I have hijacked the reins of the podcast, but don't panic. This is all sanctioned by our governing body, the hosts of Saved by the City, the one and only post-New Yorker, Katelyn Beatty, and the woman who was kind enough to marry me, Roxy Stone.
Roxy,
hey, everybody.
Katelyn, welcome to Saved by the City.
This is meta.
Wow. Is this what it's like when we interview people? Because it's great.
It's great.
No, it's just like this, only more awkward. All right, John, you want to do the honors?
I would love to. From Religion News Service, this is Saved by the City, a podcast from two Christian women who take the fun out of fundamentalism and put the odd in God. I'm John Schmidt.
And I'm Jonathan Woodward.
Oh, man. Wow. We've been outdone already.
Is that our new tagline? I think so.
Do you think that you take the fun out of fundamentalism or the odd out of God? No,
I really like the
You
odd.
put the odd
I
in
really
God.
like putting the odd in God.
Okay, so in honor of Thanksgiving, John and Roxy are hosting a Friendsgiving here in Brooklyn. It's a special moment for me as I get to share a bit for this episode. We all have spaces that are sacred to us, and I am particularly excited to welcome you to a church of my own. The dinner table is where a lot of my best work happens.
Is the dinner table church?
It's a church. Listen, it's going to be better than what we eat at church normally.
I mean, I can tell because of the smells. It smells amazing in here.
It does.
Jonathan, it does feel significant that you're here because so much of the work that you guys do happens on Zoom. And it's distant and it's online and you're finding ways of communicating that aren't proximate. And you made the trip and that feels meaningful because something happens when you're together and you're sharing a meal. So I'm glad that you're here and I'm glad that we can have this conversation.
So I wasn't actually slated to be on mic for this. I was just waiter, chef, producer, and I am secretly both thrilled and anxious about having a spot at the table.
Why are you anxious? I don't understand.
I don't say stuff. I don't say stuff on your podcast. I mean, occasionally.
Yeah, but you have good stuff to say off the podcast.
Time will tell.
And your heart is in the right place.
It felt like you were the right person to have here.
That's
at our
nice.
Friendsgiving. Because we've worked together a long time. We've kind of gone on a journey together, the three of us.
Journey is a trigger word for me, but please
Is it?
continue.
Because of well, it just feels like a lot of life has happened in the almost 4 years that we've been doing this podcast. And I don't know, I didn't know what the relationship between like the producer talent, that's us, relationship was. I just thought, you'd be like another coworker and it would feel distant in a way, but there's so much intimacy and vulnerability in the podcast. And I'm sure in hearing it and editing it and listening to us work things out.
You probably
It's a big deal.
know us more than we think you do.
Definitely. And I have you at a disadvantage because I have not spent the last 118 episodes spilling my guts about everything and the planet. So yeah, there's a lot of intimacy there, as a matter of fact, and I am very proud of that. Okay, so we're having a little Friendsgiving here, and I think it's probably good that we take a spin through Friendsgiving's past, or even Thanksgiving past. So we've come up with a couple of little, icebreaker questions. And I would like to toast you before we get started to Roxy, Katelyn, John.
What are we toasting to?
I'm toasting to you because I am so grateful to have you as friends.
Aw.
This is where I'd like to start.
Cheers to that.
Cheers
Cheers to
friends.
that. So we're about to sit down to a delicious meal, and not unlike what folks are experiencing at their Thanksgiving. And there's an age-old debate that I'd like for the two of you to settle. Sweet potato casserole. What's going on top? There is a right answer.
Nuts.
Thank you.
These nuts?
I personally do not like sweet potato casserole.
I mean, I do have an answer that is not the correct answer in your opinion, but The difference is that my sweet potato casserole, which has marshmallows on top, has cranberries in it. So it's a
dessert.
Cranberry yam casserole. And I think it's really, really good.
How do you extract the sweet potatoes? Are you buying them in cans or are you mashing them?
I've done both.
Okay.
And I will say that buying them fresh is not worth it. It's a lot of work.
Yes.
They turn out almost the same, but maybe a little drier even, because they're not in like the candied syrup in the cans. So, I don't know. Sorry, all you trad wives out there.
Well, we call it Senator Russell. I don't know why we call it the Senator, but it is definitely a marshmallow, brown sugar, sweet potato concoction. I see you looking at me judgmentally.
Why do you want nuts, John?
These nuts?
Here's the thing. I feel like it's a texture thing.
Yes.
So when you go through the crust at the top, it's a bit like cracking a creme brulee, which is the best part of a creme brulee. So with a sweet potato casserole, you need to have something crunchy on top that balances out that really delicious, savory,
Sweet and creamy.
Yes, all the things that are hiding underneath.
Yeah.
If you got marshmallows, don't look at me like that, Jonathan.
I mean, the marshmallows, if you do it right, it's like the creme brulee. It's got a little, you gotta like crack the sugar.
It's like a.
I don't know.
What? Just do both.
Hang tight.
Just throw some nuts on there.
Why
And some
are we
marshmallows. Why
working
are
in
we-
an either or world
Two
when we
great
could work
houses
in a
divided.
both
Exactly.
and?
This doesn't
It's
have
a
to
both
be
and
a binary.
spirituality, John.
My main problem here, Roxy, is the cranberries. What are you
This
doing
is
with that?
fighting
Okay.
words.
That is-
this feels like a
that I think
different
is-
thing.
That
This
is
is what
Very
is
disgusting.
This feels like a different conversation than.
Disgusting.
They're
They were circling
they're just
around
too
in this
tart. They're just too
conversation.
tart.
Are they fresh cranberries?
Or dried? That's a good question.
Fresh.
Okay.
No, you buy a bag of cranberries and you just pour it in with sweet potato casserole. You know, you got the oatmeal with the brown sugar and the cinnamon, and you put it all in with some cranberries and you bake it, and the cranberries get all like melty. Tom Wilkinson says it's the best Thanksgiving dish he's ever had.
Wow.
I don't know if that's
Whoa.
true anymore. That was
Wow.
several years ago.
Wow.
And it might be a little hyperbolic.
That's pretty bold.
Disgusting.
Yeah, that's bold too. Next question, I think.
So, one of the great joys of being in New York on Thanksgiving is the parade. If you could design any float for Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, what are you designing? What's on it? Who's there?
Yeah, I mean, I would probably design something that kind of looked like the Last Supper, but it was with drag queens.
So good.
I'm triggered.
I am so jealous of that answer.
Tell us more.
A blue turkey would descend from the heavens onto the platter. And maybe it's a turkey or maybe it's Dionysus, we don't know, but
I was thinking more like Snoopy.
That's a classic.
That's a who
classic.
doesn't like the Peanuts gang?
We all love Snoopy.
Maybe if the Peanuts gang is like dabbing,
They
like
have to be doing something.
like their dance has like been updated. I don't even think people are dabbing anymore. That's like 10 years
pretty
ago.
chooky.
so chuggy.
Whatever. Okay, whatever the dance that the Gen Z people are doing now. That's
On
what
the TikTok.
That's what the Peanuts gang would be doing on my float.
Are they still Gen Z? Are we still in Gen Z? Have they come up with another one?
Yeah, I think they're
Gen Alpha.
Yeah.
Gen Alpha is like the really young one.
That's not fair. They started over. It's ridiculous. I
know.
guess you would have
I
to.
did think it was going to be the end of the world when we hit Z, but
John, what is your float?
You know, this is just a knee-jerk reaction, but I feel like I go back to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I'm just feeling nostalgia in floats. Like, I want to see something that brings me back. Donatello. I don't know. That just came to me.
I would like. I like the mashup. It's the Brat Pack.
Is it the Rat Pack and the Brat Pack?
Oh no, it's the Brat Pack being the Rat Pack.
I like it.
Right?
We've landed it.
Like the Brat Pack from the 80s.
Yes.
Doing the 40s thing.
I mean, it was Brat Summer. Can we somehow pull that in?
We still don't know what
We
that
still
means.
don't know what that actually means.
You say it, and I don't know either.
I mean, it's a Charlie XCX thing.
There's probably a dance.
There's probably a dance.
It's on the TikToks.
Yeah.
So we're about to have this meal, this feast at the table, and I did want to call out that we have a priest in our midst. He is a paid Christian, which I think...
I prefer professional Christian.
I don't know, man. Like, if you gotta get paid to do it, does that mean it's real?
That's a true evangelical question right there.
Oh, is it?
What's your motive?
I'm going to pass on those for now.
Wise. So I have always loved food anthropology, the process of ritual in food. You know, the dining table is a church for me. It is a really sacred space where I feel like humans come alive and do what they do best, right?
Yeah. I affirm that.
Like, what do they do at the dinner table that they don't do other places?
Well, that's the question that I was asking John. There is this sort of very recognizable moment of eating in the Christian tradition. You don't have to be remotely Christian to know about this one thing, this, you know.
The cannibalism.
Yeah. So I thought you guys could talk about that a little bit.
Okay.
It's funny because I was asking about transubstantiation earlier.
Oh.
So we have this Eucharist, and I wanted
Wait,
to
Jonathan knows the word transubstantiation.
And Eucharist.
Dude, I know some stuff.
Okay.
I Google things.
This happens
Weren't
a lot
you
in
raised
vampire
Catholic?
movies.
You were raised Catholic.
I was baptized Catholic in a closet by the same grandmother that accused me of flirting with my sister-in-law.
Wait, I thought you
You
were
know what? Count it.
Methodist.
Nah, I just ran with some Methodists in high school.
So wait, your grandmother baptized you in a closet?
I think she understood that there was a provision that in emergencies you could perform if you were worried about...
This is true. This is true, actually.
Say,
Were there-
tell us.
Were there no churches around?
Oh, no, there were. I was just not being taken to them.
Oh, by your parents. Oh, this was your parents'
Listen,
problem.
all you need to do at baptism is water and the triune name. You're good to go. In emergencies, you can even use your spit.
No. Okay, that's precious.
Heading back to the Eucharist for a minute, I wanted John to explain, like, what is going on? What is going on with communion? I don't know how to ask the question any other way.
Well, it's a question that I could talk about for a long time, but I think what I'd like to say is that is the easy out, which is we think the Eucharist is a mystery. Now,
Hang on.
yeah, I know.
That is an easy answer.
I know. So
It's not how you got me to marry, just forget that.
Wait a minute.
It was one of our very first conversations on our first date. We talked about the Eucharist and how much it meant to each of us.
Okay.
yeah,
That is the sexiest thing I've ever heard.
I love the Eucharist. I love what happens in it. I love that it is known by many names. One of them is communion. The other, which I love, is the Great Thanksgiving, which feels appropriate to us here. In fact, the Greek word for Eucharist is Thanksgiving. And so that is what is happening in the midst of this meal. And we're sharing a meal that's very much bread and wine, but we do believe that what happens at this communion, this meal, this Thanksgiving, is that it becomes God's real presence. And that's the mystery. So there's a presence. There's a very real feast, a meal. And the other thing that happens that I love is that it's a moment of looking back. It's a moment of remembering. I think in that way it becomes like a type of, when repeated over time, it becomes a living memory that we get to enact. And it's something that we feast on with our bodies, but we live out in our lives. So I think that's something that, I don't know, we get to do it in the sense that every meal, but also Thanksgiving has its own type of living memory to it. So I kind of wonder for y'all, why do you think that food, real presence of people around a table, what does that have to do with this memorializing, this memory? Like, how do those two go hand in hand? What happens at the table?
I have heard this quote many times attributed to Eugene Peterson. I don't know for sure if he said it or not, but he talks about how he knows that people don't remember his sermons, and he gave, rest in peace, a sermon every week, right? And people would go home and they would forget it. And he said, this is like a little gendered, but he said, I don't remember every meal my wife has ever cooked me. I remember some of them really well, and most of them blend together, but every one of them nourished me in the moment, in the day, that it gave me what I needed. And he's like, that's all I can hope for my sermons, right? And so when I think about meals and gathering and food and the ritual of it, that's what I think about. I don't remember every meal I've ever had with Katelyn in New York City, but I remember some of them. And I remember that every one of them fed our friendship in some way or another. And so that's what I think about. And just the nourishment of the routine, of the over and over and over again, and how relationships are built that way with each other. And I think with Christ at communion.
I don't think I can improve upon what Roxy just said. But I think it's maybe like we're also animals who need to eat. And so when we gather at a table, it's basically saying like, we need food to survive. We all need, it's a leveling place. And it's kind of vulnerable to have people watching you chew. Like masticate. I know.
Don't like that word. Don't like that.
That's
almost as bad as moist.
Yeah, fair.
I'm over moist. Bring on the moist. Duncan Hines is moist, and we value that.
I think hating moist is misogynistic.
Yeah. We're going to do a podcast episode just about that. I don't know. I think it's also where you experience love. If it's a home-cooked meal, it's like a tangible expression of love and care. If you think about your favorite dish that your mom makes, like that feels and tastes like love and care.
But it seems like there's also something that happens at meals that feel, quote, special, that you will, like, think about a birthday dinner, or, for instance, to this holiday, Thanksgiving. You go back and you think about all the other past Thanksgivings. And then you are present in this one. And there's something about remembering that connects you to your past that I think kind of jettisons some of those things forward to now. And I think there's, I don't know, almost something pseudo-sacramental about that. So, I don't know, I think meals can be that way because we share about our lives. And we talk about the things to us that are meaningful over food, like you said, Katelyn, that nourishes us tangibly. It's meeting the basic needs, but it's also hitting something within us that takes us somewhere else, maybe into the past.
Well, should we eat?
Yeah.
Let us eat the meal that you have lovingly prepared for us.
Yes, carry on while I go and fetch some food.
Have y'all ever messed around with a turducken?
Yes.
No, but of course,
It will change your life.
of course, Woodward.
What is it?
A chicken inside of a turkey. No. I'm sorry. It's a duck inside of a chicken inside of a turkey.
This sounds like in natural law.
The amount of fat that comes off of that particular item.
Oh my
Stuff
god.
on a
It's
Wait,
so...
it's a chicken inside a
kosher.
turkey inside a duck?
No,
No.
it's a duck
Inside a chicken.
inside of a chicken inside of a turkey.
Like, think the size of each.
in. Well, actually, that would mean the chicken's inside the duck.
It's the
It's like
the word
Schrodinger's
is not-
cat.
The word is not actually representative.
no one can see the
Just think like ducks are smaller than chickens are small.
No, I mean, I get how big the animals are.
Thank
Just going along
Oh my
with
gosh, I'm
this.
so excited.
Sometimes there's a quail inside of
Oh my god.
A
duck
quail
and then-
turducken.
and then sometimes there's a quail egg inside.
So it's Thanksgiving, and it feels fitting as folks gather that we maybe offer a little grace. And as the paid professional Christian in the room, would you be willing to offer us a word or two?
I would love to say a prayer.
This smells so good.
Accept, O Lord, our thanks and praise for all that you have done for us. We thank you for the splendor of the whole creation, for the beauty of this world, and for the wonder of life and the mystery of love. We thank you for the blessing of family and friends, and for the loving care which surrounds us on every side. We thank you for setting us at tasks which demand our best efforts, and for leading us to accomplishments which satisfy and delight us. We thank you also for those disappointments and failures that lead us to acknowledge our dependence on you alone. Above all, we thank you for your Son, Jesus, for the abundant gift of love we know through his life, death, and resurrection, and that we might live in that light of that love so that we may love and serve our neighbors. And also bless this food. Amen.
Let's eat.
Jinx.
Okay, so what are we eating today?
Oh my
Okay.
gosh, this beef is so tender.
Make Katelyn say it.
Caitlin, what did you just put in your mouth?
Beef bourguignon. Bourguignon.
Beef bourguignon.
It's so tender.
I'm conflicted about it because bouf bourguignon sounds so snotty.
Boof.
Bouf bourguignon.
It is snotty. You've literally been cooking since 1:30 this afternoon.
Agree.
Wait, what?
Yeah, no, he showed up at my apartment at like 1 o'clock and started cooking. So
Whoa.
truly,
Well,
made
the
with
beef
love
could
and
not be
care.
more tender. Fall apart in your mouth. So good.
Jonathan, this is insanely delicious. I'm so grateful for this meal. And in light of that, I think we need to do the classic Thanksgiving question.
Oh.
We need to talk about things that we're thankful for or grateful for. Now, just a quick note on this.
Yeah.
I think that thankfulness and gratefulness are often used interchangeably. But
Oh.
at this Thanksgiving table, it feels like gratefulness is something that can flow from it. So let's be grateful at this table and say things over this past year, a memory that you feel particularly grateful for.
Well, I got married, so it's hard
Yeah, you did.
to top the memory of being at the altar and saying yes.
So I guess me being there was not like higher than that.
Your favorite memory was
icing on the cake.
seeing Jonathan at your wedding.
Oh, he's there. There he is. Oh, thank God.
No, that was fun. There was like a really fun moment of being up there. Like we sat and we looked out at all of the people gathered in the pews, and it was fun to sort of be like, oh, there's Jonathan, there's Paul, there's Caitlin, there's like to sort of be like, there's our people. It was cool, actually.
It really felt like a intentionally communal celebration. I didn't feel like this is just the two individuals. It felt like you really wanted to honor all the people who had poured into you and like supported you and your relationship, which I think is right and good.
It is a right and good and
And a
neat
joyful
to
thing,
do.
always and everywhere, to give you thanks and praise. Finish us out.
You guys both get gold stars.
Seriously, I feel like something super Christian just happened just now.
It is definitely meet and right so to do.
To meet and right. I'm gonna use that more.
Meat is a good.
I'm gonna start emailing people like, it is meet and right.
I want that to be your email signature from now on.
It is meet and right that we schedule our titling meeting for Tuesday.
Caitlin, what about you? What's something that you're...
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
No, it's actually been a really good year. Man, I got to go out west for a 2-week hiking adventure, and it was just stunningly beautiful.
Did you see some birds?
I did. I got like 30 life birds, which means I had never seen them before. Like,
Is that a lot?
I think 30
That's a lot.
for like 30 birds I'd never seen before. That's a
Wow.
big deal.
If you'd said 3, I would have been happy for you.
Yeah. I had a lot of trepidation about turning 40 this year, and then all of the birthday celebrations were just so fun. Like, they were exactly what I wanted.
Yeah.
In no small part to you and Roxy and your portable Negronis.
Oh yeah, we were slinging Negronis at the karaoke bar.
No doubt. You know, I think that... So there's a line in the prayer that I read a moment ago that says... It talks about disappointments and failures can lead us to life. And they can help us recognize that we actually have a life of dependence. So I'm curious, how might disappointments this year, in light of things that have been that you're grateful for, how might disappointments or failures be something that you can be thankful for? Or put differently, what's your frowny that led to your brownie?
There are multiple interpretations of this phrase. What's your frowny that led to your brownie? I had some less than pleasant experiences with men on the apps like a year ago, and I think that prompted me to like basically give up the apps for good, and I think that's been really good to move on from that. Is that turning a frowny into a brownie?
What's the brownie?
That you
Mental peace.
Yeah.
And there you go.
So you've like learned something about yourself.
But is it possible as part of a full ecosystem, like being there with you for your summer series and you talked about all of these things, I noticed every single time that there was not one of the things that you explored this summer that was not completely intertwined with the others. So manifesting a man had everything to do with where do I live, and had everything to do with what's going on with my money, had everything to do with do I want to be a mom. And I think getting off the apps, I would say, like what I heard is that that was a decisive part that led to the other things.
Yeah. I hadn't connected it that way, but maybe being more intentional or more like boundaried. Like I'm done kind of like fiddling around with this thing that's like not really going anywhere. You quit the apps
Long ago.
I mean,
That's good.
like
That's a relief, I'd say.
you quit the apps like a couple years.
Yes. You meant I quit the apps a while
Long ago.
before not because I met John, but quite a while before I met John. Yeah, I mean,
Well, not a long time before you met me.
no, a long time.
A year?
At least a year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the two guys that I dated the year that I met you, I didn't meet on the app. That was part of, I feel like, my brownie was like...
You can never say my brownie again. None of us can.
I had such better experiences meeting people organically, meeting men organically. And this is one of the things about like when I said we'd gone on a journey together on this podcast. This is all stuff that happened in real time that we talked about on the podcast. Like the decision to stop going on the apps, at least for a while, and try speed dating or try like actually talking to somebody at a friend's party, you know? But I think for me, what I finally got to with the apps was the point where I just realized I didn't want to spend my life searching for a thing to make my life different. Like I wanted to actually enjoy my Tuesday night, whether that be like reading a book or watching something or going out with my friends instead of like swiping.
Yeah.
And it just kind of felt like I was always living my life in this sort of like seeking place. Like I was looking for something to add or something different or something to change it instead of just like living the life I had in front of me. And that was that was what ultimately got me off of the apps.
So did we answer your question
You
about
did.
the frownies to the brownies?
You did, Roxy did not. So how might disappointments be something we can be thankful for?
I mean, it doesn't seem natural in the moment, right? Like disappointment initially leads to frustration. Why God? Why do they have this thing that I don't have? Why do I have to deal with this?
Right.
Is this ever going to work out for me?
Right.
I had a heart attack, a big heart attack. I'm young.
You scared us all.
It was scary. It was super scary. I don't even think I was smart enough to be scared at the time, which is weird. A lot of people have said, thank God you called 911. And it's true. But it wasn't until after the fact that I had a moment to be like, well, gosh, I guess I hadn't really thought about maybe if I hadn't. But I do remember on the way to the hospital feeling like, God, please just make this stop. I don't care how. This is just like, this is bad. This feels bad.
Were you in pain?
I was in, like, my whole body was vibrating pain. And not just like pain, like when you break a bone or something blows your arm off with a cannon. I don't know why I picked that. But
That's never happened to me.
Hopefully it never will.
You know, like when you're in World War II.
Exactly. This was a body internal, like existential everything pain. And there was definitely the feeling like, this has to stop. You have to stop this. I don't really care how it stops, but like, this is not okay. So frowny. But the things that came out of that were, I have such a gratitude for living in this time and place where the pharmaceuticals that I am given are miraculous. Like, it's so, unbelievable. I spend a weird amount of time thinking about the volume of people that have died on this planet. So many people, just death. And like, I'm not dead. Then it was something that Nancy French and I were talking about before you guys got on the line, which was just like how vivid life also gets. All of a sudden, like, I've been looking around this fall and my God, the leaves are amazing. And it's a little insufferable. I don't mind saying. I'm hard to be around when I'm just like, oh my God, look at it all.
We know. I'm just kidding.
So I haven't really held that in very well. Okay.
No, it's
fine.
Better to err on the side of existential and grateful.
Yes, and there's some ecstasy involved with that on a level that I was just not able to access otherwise. I guess, I don't know, I've seen a lot of weird transitions in my life. I've been here and there. I have never felt more alive now and more grateful to be so, especially at dinner with you fine people.
It would seem that there is...
Slow clap.
Really?
We should all do that.
I mean, that was a story. You took us someplace.
Yeah.
It would seem that in the midst of your episode and the times after that and recovery and realizing how the severity of something, the severity of despair or the reality of death on the other side of things, there is this realization that life is really sweet. And that is one of the things that I think makes meals like this that we can share in person especially sweet. Really nice.
Okay, so this is an interesting time. We're scattered to the winds. We started the podcast in the middle of COVID, but here we are. We've got new apartment for John and Roxy. We got a new town for Katelyn. I have been lurking in the North Woods, and I feel like where we are in the world really describes a lot of what we experience. So in the spirit of location, and in the spirit of like me wandering around my backyard, looking at the sunflowers and the frogs and the stinking leaves, I wanted to throw it to you guys, like, what about your environment makes you grateful?
At the time of this recording, I'm still in my apartment in Brooklyn. And the thing that I have been very grateful for about it is it gets a lot of natural light and it's really quiet. It's been a space that's easy to find peace and quiet in a very loud and noisy and disruptive city.
That's a 5th floor walk up.
No one's coming up there.
You earned that.
Yeah, exactly.
Every day.
I'm retreating to my tower.
To go back to the question that we were pondering earlier.
Not the frowny brownie one.
Well, it is. I feel a little bit like I'm in my frowny.
That hurts.
We moved too fast past brownie.
No, it's related to the environment. Not right this second. This is the glimpse of the brownie. You know, like when you're baking brownies and you can smell them. That's what I feel like this Thanksgiving, Friendsgiving is for me, which is to say, we are sitting in the one room in the apartment that is close to set up. And if you were to just like walk down the hall or walk downstairs, you would find boxes upon boxes and like a mess. And this has been a hard move. It's been a hard transition. We are really excited to live here. Brooklyn has been calling to all of us for a while. But I've lived in Manhattan for a long time, longer than I've ever lived in any other city in my adult life. So it felt like a big deal to move, even if it was just like across the river. And, you know, we moved in with our friend Jonathan, and are merging essentially 3 one-bedroom apartments into one. And we have so many like duplicates and so many divergent opinions on everything. And this apartment has just been tricky. Like, our couches didn't fit down the stairs, so we had to get rid of them. So now we have to buy a couch. Like, there's just so many things about this apartment that have been very tricky. And then on top of that, we've had like the start of a new job for John and like a super busy season for me at work. It's been a stressful time. It's been a hard time. It's been hard to remember what I love about the environment that I'm in. I'm trying to learn a new environment to love, Brooklyn. I live currently a 15-minute walk from one of my best friends who, by the time that this airs, will not be living 15-minute walk from me anymore.
It feels it feels like a cruelty of the Lord.
It truly feels cruel. A cruel twist of fate.
What's the opposite of a God wink?
A God frowny.
A God fart.
I was thinking that.
A God shart.
No, that's bad.
That's serious. That's very serious.
So,
I mean, that's basically what Ecclesiastes says.
oh yeah.
God sharts on us sometimes. We don't know why. Thanks be to God.
That was Job.
Oh yeah, Job says that too.
God winks and he sharts on the righteous and the unrighteous alike is the exact translation.
Basically what Jesus said.
We should do a Bible translation. All right.
Oh my God, the Saved by a City edition.
New York in the fall is magic. And you can be as down in the dumps as you want to be. And this season in New York will always like uplift you. You just have to take like a walk around the block and crunch some leaves underfoot and see a small child with a backpack walking to the bus or go to the park.
You're really painting a picture.
And see all the dogs in dog heaven running around the park.
To be clear, they're not dead.
Yeah.
This is when we go and walk in the park in the off-leash hours in the morning,
And we call it dog heaven.
and there's so many dogs there that it feels like. Okay, so I have one more question I'd like to ask. It's not always easy. This sounds like a silly statement. It's not always easy to be thankful. How do you think we grow into a posture of a Thanksgiving? How do we cultivate the practice of Thanksgiving over time?
It feels like cultivating Thanksgiving is inherently about looking back. Like kind of remembering rightly. Like these are the things that have happened that are really good, that are easy to take for granted. And then also recognizing, I don't know, life is fleeting and short, and like even just appreciate the moment that you have rather than, I think at the cusp of an impending move and like a pretty big life transition, it's very easy for me to think about everything that could go wrong or be disappointing. Like, I think part of my fear is like, what if I leave New York and I'm really unhappy? Like, what if I like immediately want to come back? And how does that work? But there's something about Thanksgiving that's like, yeah, but if you step back and think about it, you've like made it thus far and it's pretty good. And good things have happened. What's to say that good things wouldn't continue to happen in the future?
So that feels like cultivating an awareness. That looks like paying attention, recognizing what's happening in your life, and logging that away and remembering. Are there other things that, I don't know, that we could be doing, or ways that we could kind of be building into our life that would help us to appreciate what it means to be thankful over time and in practice as well? Outside of growing in awareness, what are other things that we could be doing?
Have you heard of the Axe prayer?
In fact, I have.
Axe body spray prayer?
No, this isn't Axe. This is
ACT.
Oh.
You need prayer. You need a different kind of prayer if you're wearing X. Because the pits and the bits.
Oh my god.
What is happening? You guys, no, this is like a new. You guys, have you not heard the advertising for this like whole body deodorant? Right. And they definitely expressly say pits and bits.
Wow.
I haven't heard it, but it got me. So we have a dessert lightning round. So back in the day, in my youth ministry days, which I truly loved because a lot of it is just about being present, having fun, listening, being attentive to, not unlike cultivating the practice of Thanksgiving. But I loved playing games.
But also the Axe body spray.
That's the ACTS, Katelyn. Okay. So...
And frowning on brownies.
You're like,
come on. We used to talk
you
about
guys
Axe
have
all
heard
the
of
time.
Axe body spray, but have you heard of Axe body spray?
No, actually, we've done that.
Oh, no. Of course you have.
No, I'm serious.
Well, I'll pray for you.
Please do. Use the Axe model. Okay, anyway, so I love minute-to-win games. I love quick games. This is a lightning round. No, the point of this is not to think too much. I'll go Roxy first, then Katelyn. This is not preferential, I promise. Roxy, if you had to eat 2 different Thanksgiving foods for every meal for the rest of your life, and that's all you could eat, what would they be? The goal is survival. Go.
Lobster and hot wings.
That's not Thanksgiving meals. You weren't even paying attention.
Your Thanksgiving table sounds
You're
decadent.
so pre-programmed.
Stuffing and gravy.
For survival? You have to live off this. It's the only thing you can eat
Sausage
forever and
stuffing.
ever.
Gravy is the
No,
right way to go.
sausage and
Gravy
stuffing,
has
okay.
a lot of stock in it. It's a boiled turkey
Yeah.
with a little bit of starch. All the things you need.
Okay,
I
Katelyn,
mean,
same
turkey
question.
feels like a really helpful protein, just like a lean protein.
But it's sometimes so dry.
Now you're changing the rules.
I'm just trying to challenge
because
it.
you said this was about survival. So, like, if I'm just trying to survive, I don't care if my turkey is dry. I just want protein. Maybe mashed potatoes? Because potatoes actually have more nutrients than we often think.
Do they?
Many Irish people would agree with you.
There's something in history about this.
I agree. It's like
But, or maybe
right,
the answer
famine.
is turkey and pumpkin pie.
Ooh, good answer. Good
Because like the
answer.
turkey covers the like sustenance protein, but then the pumpkin pie has like carbs and it's also yummy.
It's also good for your stomach. I mean, they tell you to give dogs pumpkin to help with their digestion.
When they've got the diarrhea.
And they're barfing too. Yeah.
I will say, over time, you're gonna hate that pumpkin pie. Something bad. It's gonna get you.
Yeah.
It's for the rest of your life. Okay,
Yeah.
next question. Katelyn, you first.
Okay.
And you gotta respond immediately.
Okay.
Would you rather sweat gravy or smell like turkey always?
Smell like turkey always.
Yeah,
Roxy?
obviously.
Really? Always?
Well, I mean, unless
Or sweat gravy?
gravy,
always?
that's gross.
That's so
I mean,
disruptive.
You've just got
unless we
like
have
the-
to survive,
By eating
then
the gravy.
it would be good to sweat gravy. That would be helpful.
Oh, let me just like sweat on your turkey
You could
there.
literally eat your sweat.
Right.
Right. Again, if
But
survival
you didn't
was at
clarify
stake, but you
that
didn't
survival
like,
was part of
what
this
if
question.
I was like, what if I got invited to the Met Gala and I was sweating gravy?
Right.
God,
Whereas,
Lady Gaga would be very proud.
whereas if you smelled like turkey, they'd just be like, "There's the woman who smells a little bit like turkey."
Right.
Fair enough. Next question. If you could host a Thanksgiving with any 3 people, who would they be? Roxy.
Wait, living and dead?
Yes.
Madeline L'Engle, Virginia Woolf, and Marilyn Robinson.
Katelyn.
Okay, the guy who plays the chief on Stranger Things,
Oh my god.
Oh my gosh, this
Oh my God, David Harbour?
David
for
Harbour.
a makeout session.
I figure if 3 of these men are at my Thanksgiving table, one of them's gonna work out.
Excellent.
By that
That's
you
smart.
mean make out with you.
That's
By
smart.
work out, I mean make out.
Or get married and have babies.
David Harbour. Who are my other celebrity crushes? Paul Rudd and Paul from the Great British Baking Show.
Oh.
Stop.
He is the penultimate silver fox.
Wait, who's
But
the
Paul
ultimate?
Hollywood?
Paul Hollywood.
Who's the ultimate?
I mean, come on.
I mean, those eyes.
To hear Paul Hollywood say, that's a good bake.
Or to give the handshake. How much
Do you think he'd
want
say
the
that
handshake?
after?
Yeah.
Do you think he would?
And then a delivery guy shows up at the door and...
Okay, but again, who's the ultimate silver fox?
I mean, Christopher Plummer in his day.
Who is that?
Wow.
Captain Von Trapp.
Wow. That's a double wow.
Do you disagree?
No, I mean, Christopher Plummer, that's a deep cut, you gotta admit.
When he blows that whistle.
Okay, next question. Roxy, you're first. Gather yourselves. Roxy, smash, marry, kill. Green pepper jelly,
That's not how it goes.
green bean casserole, or cranberry sauce.
I don't know what that is. I don't understand the question and I'm not going to answer it.
Yeah.
You're from Georgia, right?
It feels
this
like
a-
it
is
does
this a
feel like
thing?
a southern
I think that's
thing.
a southern
yeah.
thing.
Oh my god. I
literally don't know what it is.
Jam jelly made from green peppers?
That would be a good guess.
Oh my god.
What? That you put on like a biscuit? They eat a lot of biscuits at the
Is
South.
it like spicy?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. You know red pepper jelly?
It's no. But it's like a spicy condiment.
I know what jelly is and that various fruits can make jelly. I've had spicy jellies.
Wow.
I feel like we've just wandered into a part of their marriage that they didn't even know existed.
No.
The
This is
the
new.
spicy
This is-
jelly part.
I'm kind of blown away that you guys don't know about green
I
pepper
literally don't know what green pepper jelly
I
is.
mean, I guess I'll smash it because
Don't.
the mystery.
That sounds.
Don't smash something you don't know about.
I was gonna
I'm
say
not gonna kill it because I don't know it.
Well, I was gonna say I'm gonna kill the green pepper jelly because I don't know it.
Okay, so I'm gonna smash your green pepper jelly.
That's not.
Yeah, you
And
are.
I'm gonna kill whatever the other one was, and I'm gonna marry cranberry sauce.
What was the third
What if
one?
I-
Green
Are
bean
you
casserole.
serious?
Oh yeah, I'm definitely killing the green bean casserole.
All right, Katelyn, what are you doing?
I am marrying the green bean
Yes, you
casserole.
are.
I am smashing the cranberry casserole.
Sauce.
Cranberry sauce. I'm killing green pepper jelly.
Final question. If you could rebrand Thanksgiving, who would your mascot be?
What is the current mascot of Thanksgiving?
Turkey.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, because they
right.
pardoned
Oh,
the
yeah,
turkey at
okay.
the White House. Yeah.
Lobster and hot wings.
You're not one note about this.
Julia Child.
I back that, Katelyn.
I mean,
good
who
answer.
better embodies the spirit of like the joy of cooking for other people than Julia Child?
That's a good.
Also, she
Roxy
probably
redo.
made lobster in a really. I don't know if Julia Child ever made hot wings.
She didn't know. She didn't know.
She would make a mean buffalo sauce. I do not doubt. Saved by the City is a religion news service production. Our producer and chef tonight is Jay Woodward.
Heyo.
And the consulting editor is Paul O'Donnell. Our editor is Julia Wyndham.
Taz Rousseau put together our look, and Martin Fowler wrote our theme music.
We are Roxy Stone.
And Caitlin Beatty.
And John Schmidt.
And Jonathan Woodward.
Thanks for listening.